Is Cardfight Vanguard Stonks yet? Welcome to the Solemn Yu-Gi-Oh channel where we discuss everything collecting and investing in Yu-Gi-Oh. Now, let me preface this by saying, this game has no collector's market when we compare it to MTG, Yu-Gi-Oh, or Pokemon. This thing does not exist. This is not me saying, go speculate on these like crazy, because it's super smart and it's gonna be stonks. I am not saying that whatsoever, because again, the market doesn't exist. Now, are there collectors? Absolutely. I am one of them. As you can see, I like these cards. I have been playing Cardfight Vanguard for many years, and I do have a collection of it. But do we have people hoarding boxes? Do we have people putting together full sets? Do we have people grading these en masse and trading the graded cards and buying and cracking and doing all of this amazing stuff? No. I think in total, there's less than 100 graded Vanguard cards. And as far as box collecting, all of the boxes, even the very first one, it's all still under $200. So with that PSA out of the way, let's go over this, because this is pretty interesting. So this is a small part of my personal Vanguard collection. Vanguard is basically my primary card game right now. While I love collecting Yu-Gi-Oh! And I obviously grew up with Yu-Gi-Oh! When I play a card game these days, 99% of the time, it's gonna be Cardfight Vanguard. I will enjoy a Yu-Gi-Oh! Goat game, and even sometimes a modern game, you know, I keep up. I play my Zombie Synchro Tier 4 deck. I have fun with my Eldritch from time to time. But when I try hard competitively, it's Cardfight Vanguard. I enjoy this as a game in modern times more so than Yu-Gi-Oh! Or in Yu-Gi-Oh! You know, you make these crazy boards, you hope you have a hand trap, all of that good stuff. It's not for me that much. I still play it, but this game, you know, mostly steals my heart. Now, this is just a part of the collection. Obviously, I couldn't get everything up here, but it's just fun to go over right now. As you can see over here, we actually have BT01, so the very first set. We have a full set of minty cards. These are the triple rare, so if you don't know how Vanguard works, essentially SP is the very highest rarity, and these SPs are basically just slightly different foil versions of the triple rare cards that we have right here. So as you can see here, you have a King of Knights Alfred, the first card of the set, in a triple rare, but then you have a SP version, which looks almost exactly the same. So we have a full set of triple rare and under, and then the SPs are separate in here. So we can quickly go over that. Just a full set of BT01. Again, this stuff is so goddamn cheap. There is no market for it. I don't know if anyone else is crazy enough to put a full set together, but you really could. Except for the SPs, that is. For like 50 bucks max, you could put together the full set, which is still exciting, you know. No one's being priced out as a collector just yet. But because of those low prices, there's actually not as many people collecting it yet. So that's also a double-edged sword there, let's say. So that's the full set. Then we have them in SP as well. Now, these have been going up pretty wildly lately. So that's why the title is also, are they stonks yet? Because some of them are starting to become stonks, which is interesting. This full set is actually pretty recent for me. I got this recently, but the other cards, a lot of them I didn't get recently. And again, my personal collection and so forth, that's a different ballpark altogether. But so these SPs from set 1, I feel like some of them are going up because people are thinking, well, maybe they'll be stonks one day, you know? Something like a Blaster Blade, which is basically the face of the game. The other phase of the game would have to be Dragonic Overlord right here. So some people are, you know, going crazy on these for that reason. I have bought of them myself just in case as well. But again, this market doesn't exist. I am, you know, Mr. Timmy if I speculate on these, because the market doesn't exist. With that being said, I'll make a video about the timminess of non-existent markets in a future video. But still, just wanted to give you that little bit of information. So as you can see right here, that was mostly BT01, but we have other stuff as well. This is Grand Blue. I'm a big fan of Grand Blue, so as you can see, I have some max rarity stuff. What's very interesting about max rarity in Vanguard is because the game isn't as big as, let's say, a Yu-Gi-Oh! And MTG or Pokemon, the print runs are also much smaller. You don't have a first edition and unlimited because you just have one edition. Stuff gets printed once to basically the demand that the distributor receives in the pre-orders, and then that shit is basically never reprinted again. We've had a few sets, like maybe 3 sets or so where they did an extra print run because of demand, but it almost never happens. So if you then have a card, something like these Night Roses, where you maybe have one every, I don't even know, 2, 3, 4 cases, and I'm saying cases, not boxes, cases, these things are so much more rare than any fucking set Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon or even MTG card out there. There are cards in Cardfight Vanguard that are in absolute rarity more rare than most alpha MTG cards, purely because the game is just that much smaller. But again, because the game is that much smaller, your potential collector's base is also much smaller. Again though, we'll have to go through the differences between absolute rarity and condition rarity in another video, which is pretty important. You know, LOB stuff isn't absolutely rare. LOB stuff is condition rare. That also makes certain things way more shifty, let's say, when you go into damage, so that's another video discussion once again. So as you can see, I like Granblue a lot. I actually have full SP sets of everything Granblue. A few years ago, I bought all of that in one go from a Granblue collector who quit. Except for these, I actually got these myself. Granblue is actually the clan if you are into zombies. You know, if you liked Eldritch or Zombie Master back in the day, Granblue is probably for you. It's all about that graveyard recursion. Play MTG, maybe you're into Dredge. That would be Granblue. We have some G cards here again. Stuff like this, man. When something is less than 1 per case, and you know that these aren't as produced, some of these are truly rare. But again, way smaller market, way less demand because of that. And we have our Phantom Blaster Overlord. That's a really cool favorite of mine. Makas, Spectral. All of these are SP and in highest rarity, by the way, which is pretty important. Again, you can still get all of the cards in their base rarity from the very first set for, I don't know, $4, $5. It's absolutely crazy. If someone ever tells me that they're grading commons of Cardfight Vanguard, I'm gonna have a really, really good laugh. So here we have some more SPs. This is also from the first set. We have our Maelstrom. That's also a pretty important one. A lot of the all-time favorite cards in Vanguard actually didn't come from its first sets. So if this market were to ever establish itself, I don't even know if set 1 would, you know, dominate as much as people may think in other markets. Because really, if you ask people their favorite or most iconic units, surely our friend Blaster Blade and Dragonic Overlord, they would win from an iconic perspective, but from a favorite perspective, some of these other cards just blow them out of the water very often. Again, going back to Nitros, Nitros is one of those waifu winners, even though it's from way later into the game's life. Here we have a Thingsaver. Thingsaver is interesting. If I had to compare it to something, you know, if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh kind of guy, it would be like Judgment Dragon. It's that later era light type thing. You could also blend it with Revenger Abyss, which would be like kind of Dark Arm Dragon. You put them together into your own weird Chaos deck. Once again, we have another Blaster Blade, another King of Knights Alfred, a lot of BTO1 stuff. Chaos Breaker, basically the antagonist that people love. And then we have a prize card right here. So very interesting stuff, Vanguard prize cards. Once again, super rare, but super, super cheap. I bought this for $200, and you basically get a Continental Championship prize card with a pop lower than most Shonen Jump prize cards. But again, this market doesn't fucking exist. We have our Blaster Dark, one of my personal favorites. I actually started the game with Revenger, so Blaster Dark Revenger was a huge one for me. We have a Majesty Lord Blaster. Once again, if I had to compare to Yu-Gi-Oh!, this is a BLS Chaos Guy, Envoy of the Beginning, because this actually brings together some of the two loved units, which is Blaster Dark and Blaster Blade, together into this weird chaosy thing. Now, of course, I also have sealed boxes. I have the sealed trial deck, the very first one, a few times. I also have my actual decks. I have lower rarity. I have quite some prize cards, also just including ones I've won myself. So, you know, if this market booms, I'm fucking ready, but I don't know if it will. And I'm personally not telling people to bet on it, because again, you're just starting from so much lower. But it is fun. I do really like this game a lot. And it is the number 4 card game. You know, if you gotta give it something. If you are, right now, you're saying, you know what? I am the biggest bull on card games that have zero market, and I'm risking my whole life. Well, I guess the bull thesis would be that it is the number 4 card game. You go to TCG Player right now, it's listed 4th. You go to these various cool sites giving like their top sales, cards, games, blah, 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 blah. Number 4 is D&D, which is not a card game. And then after that, it's this. Cardfight Vanguard is the number 4 card game. But again, it is so far below the top 3 in terms of players and sales. You know, you don't even see it. You have your MTG Pokemon Yu-Gi-Oh! And 40,000 miles under that, we have, you know, card games like this. And probably like under that, your Dragon Ball Super, your Digimon, and so forth. So when you start going ham on this kind of stuff, know that you are risking so much. But I have been playing this game for many years, so I have my own collection. Again, it's way bigger than this. I have this guy 4 times, 4 times, 4, like, I used to have 6 of this. I don't know where the 2 other copies are, because here we only have 1, 2, 3, 4 copies. So, you know, number 4 card game. But also, interestingly, some of these cards are so much more fucking rare than anything of the big 3. People lose their minds over ghost rares because they're like, oh, it's only 1 a case. Bitch, there's cards on this fucking table for which you would have to open like 5 cases and still not have one. For product that was printed way less than these other card games because there were literally less people. But again, there are less buyers. It's fun. I enjoy this game quite a bit. I even have a channel for it. It's Solemn Vanguard. I know quite a few of you on this channel also know me from that channel mostly. But yeah, so far, not many stonks. Maybe BTO1 is starting to become kinda stonks. But I want to share this with you. Hope you found it interesting. I will have a follow-up video for this as well, where I basically go over why you don't actually go into this type of stuff from a psychological perspective. But yeah, that's next video. Hope you found it interesting. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you soon. Ciao.